What's up, guys? Welcome back to Beaneater Buzz. Beans here again. Jordan, if you don't already know, Jordan Hunt. Um, Back to talk about some Braves baseball. Um, the good and the bad, for sure, because there's definitely a lot of both going around right now for the Atlanta Braves as we approach the deadline and as we approach the All Star break. Some good things and some bad things for sure. First thing I want to do is recap the Brewers series. It was a fun series for the Braves. They win the series 2-3. Game one was kind of the Eli White show. He made a pretty sick play down in the left field corner to save the game, and then later on in the bottom of the ninth, he makes an incredible throw. And Drake also on his end makes an incredible play to get the tag on him and not bail out or subsequently block the plate. So that was a pretty sick play, really fun stuff. Martin Perez just looked like a stud again, which is crazy. The Braves picked him up on a minor league deal. They even DFA'd him at one point, and now the guy's still back with the Braves, just shoving every 5 days. He's definitely not a guy who's gonna, light at the radar gun, or he's not gonna get a bunch of Ks. He's not gonna be that guy for you, but he's gonna pitch. He's gonna go out there. He's gonna give you a valiant effort, and it's fun to watch. I mean, I enjoy watching him. His ERA is down to 2.78 this season, over 68 innings pitched. Like it's not really a super small sample for the season thus far. He's got a 107 whip. So, 107 whip is not, I mean, okay, I'm not going to say it's not fluky. Maybe it's a little fluky, but it's not bad. It doesn't indicate a bunch of regression. So, the use of the changeup has been incredible. He's just been fun to watch. I'm a big Martin Perez fan. I always kind of wanted the Braves to pick him up, but as like a fifth starter, I don't think any of us ever envisioned him being our number 2 starter. That's definitely not what we thought was coming. So yeah, then that was game one. Like I said, it was pretty much the Eli White game outside of that. So that was pretty fun. Game two, Chris Sale again was phenomenal. Sound isn't working. Wait, is the sound working or is it not? Because some people say it is and it wasn't last time. Okay, there it goes. So apparently it is working now. Kyle Bubic. Is that how you pronounce it? Is it Bubic or Bubich? I don't know. I'm intrigued by it. It can't be the only move. There has to be a bigger move if that's going to be one of the moves. And or it has to be 2 moves. I can't be. Oh, is his name not Kyle? Oh man, I feel dumb if his name's not Kyle. Okay, all right, all right. I do know who Bubic is. He's a good pitcher. He's a good pitcher, and I wouldn't be. It's Chris. Oh yeah, see, I just look dumb. That's okay. That's all right. It's not the first or last time I'll look dumb, but he's a good pitcher. But like I said, it's just like if we got him and like Nathan Eovaldi, I'd be ecstatic with that. So that would be, for me, that'd be fun. But jumping back into talking about the series with the Brewers, game 2, 4-3 victory. Chris Sale again shoves. He ends up giving up 2 runs, which originally were charged to Chris Sale. they did kind of go back and make that right by charging Ozzy with an error, which they absolutely could have done. It could have been called either way. Could have been a fielder's choice, but even the fielder's choice that he made, which was a bad decision on Ozzy's part, he made a bad throw to Mateo. So he he ended up costing Sale 2 runs. And yeah, Sale was great. You're right. Sale deserved to get his sixth shutty, and he didn't get it. But 5.2, 0 runs, or excuse me, 0 earned, just a walk, and then 7 Ks. But of course, we're also not going to beat up on Ozzy too bad, because that game was the Ozzy Albies show outside of the starting pitching, which is, it's funny because the story of the starting pitching, or excuse me, the story of the Brewers series is starting pitching all the way through, right? So Martin Perez shoves, Chris Sale shoves. Both of them allow the Braves to stay in the game and have a comeback victory, right? And then in game 3, Bryce Elder goes out and gives up 8 earned runs in the second inning, and the Braves are, basically out of it from the get-go. Even though in the first inning the Braves had a lead. But again, starting pitching it's a conversation in that game, and unfortunately, because Bryce Elder has been really good most of the year, but we're starting to see a little bit of tarnish, and we're starting to see him kind of revert back to his old ways. I'm hoping that he can kind of right the ship. I saw a post from Lindsey Crosby today talking about extra rest for Bryce again. He has hammered this home all year. Anytime Bryce gets extra rest, he sucks. He's just bad. He doesn't look the same. He needs to be pitching every 5th day if possible. I know that sometimes the scheduled off days kind of get in the way of that, and it is what it is. But Logan Webb, Doss, from what everything I have read and everything that guys in the know have said, Logan Webb is not going to be available. If he is, that would be a fantastic get, and I would be ecstatic, because the Braves really need another guy like that at the top of their rotation. Like, Logan Webb is a dog. Like, he goes out there, he gives you innings, he takes the ball every 5 days. Like, it's been a long time since the Braves actually had a guy like that, and he's been very, very good lately. So, like, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, like Logan Webb might be washed early in the season." No, no, Logan Webb is not washed. He's extremely good, and he would be a really nice piece to put at the top of this rotation with Chris Sale. I personally still believe that we're not going to see the Braves go out and get like an ace type pitcher unless it's like Joe Ryan. I think that it's far more likely we see like 2 pitchers from like the Michael Walker. I guess Seth Lugo could be thrown into that conversation. Uh, Nathan Eovaldi. There's a bunch of guys who fit into that conversation. I guess Bubic could. I still think we're going to see 2 guys from that tier, that kind of like not ace tier, but like steady, solid veteran that you think you can trust. Who's the best prospect that I think Alex Anthopoulos could trade? Cam Caminiti. Um, Mainly because starting pitching is like extremely valuable whenever it comes to these trades and stuff. Some might say J.R. Ritchie just because J.R. Ritchie is farther along, but I think Cam Caminiti. I think that Eric Hartman is going to be untouchable. I don't think anybody's. I think Eric Hartman's going to get the Drake Baldwin treatment, where it's like, sure, we'll give you Drake Baldwin if you give us, you know, the world, but it's going to have to be like Byron Buxton, to be completely honest. To get a guy named Didier Fuentes or Eric Hartman, you're going to have to give up a guy named Byron Buxton to get him. I don't even think that those names are going to be coming up in a potential Tarek Skubal trade. I mean, they'll come up. They'll definitely talk about it, but the Braves are going to be like, no, we're not doing that. And Doss, that's completely fair. If you don't want to trade Eric Hartman for Buxton, I can't fault you for that either. The guy is skyrocketing up prospect lists right now, and it's not for no good reason. He's got every tool you can imagine. He's fast. He runs the bases well. He steals bases. He hits home runs. He hits for average. He gets on base. Like, he does everything. I'd rather have Webb than Skubal. I think Webb costs more. Yeah, Webb has a few more years of control. I want to say 2 more after this year, but I could be completely wrong. So Webb would be extremely expensive. Like that is the type of move that you start talking about guys like Didier Fuentes, Eric Hartman, maybe even Tate Southesine gets brought up in those conversations. But I don't think Alex is going to go to those extremes, though. I think that Alex is going to do what Alex does, in the sense that he's going to have a great deadline, but he's going to do it without having given up like a ton of really popular prospects and stuff. Yeah, a lot of fans, if we get Skubal, are going to try to be like, now we got to extend him. There's no way. If you get Tarek Skubal, he's a pure rental, like 100%. You know, this guy's going to free agency. It is a 100% all in, let's go win a ring move. And if the Braves make that move, that's awesome. I think a lot of the fan base would respond positively to that. I'm also not 100% sold on Skubal's return yet. So, I mean, I'm sure that I'm missing something, or I haven't paid enough attention. He's actually just been shoving, but I'm just not 100% in on that. So, but it kind of brings me to what the next thing I was going to talk about is, which is the Bryce Elder run. Is it over? It kind of feels like it might be over, but at the same time, it's like, so with Bryce, you have to look at it, you know, with Bryce Elder, you have to look at it one of two ways. Like, I know a lot of people look at it as Bryce Elder actually sucks. He got lucky. I don't believe that. I don't buy into that. I don't think that he got lucky. I think that he made some meaningful changes. Increased velo also helped a little bit. Maybe some of what Lindsey Crosby is talking about is true, that maybe he needs to just be going every 5th day, no matter what that takes. But also, there's a little bit of me that's like, hey, but we also got to remember that this guy was never supposed to be a top of the rotation arm. He was supposed to be the guy who could keep you in a game and give you 6, 7 innings. Ironically, the last 2 offseason, he has not. Would I trade Waldrop or AJSS instead of a prospect? I think that's a tricky question because I think that both of their trade value is kind of down right now, especially uh Smith Shawver. He just come back from TJ. I highly doubt that AJ gets traded. Waldrop, I could absolutely see Waldrop headlining a trade for like a starting pitcher. Like if the Boston Red Sox want to move Sonny Gray and they're willing to eat a little bit of that money, I could see Hurston Waldrop being a piece that goes back in that trade. Because Sonny Gray is another good option for the Braves. Maybe it's kind of like a tier 2 option, right? Like so you got Skubal, Webb. I might even put Joe Ryan up there, and then you got like a step down from that, and you got like Sonny Gray. I guess you could put Sandy in that area as well, even though Sandy hasn't been that good. So I could see Waldrop being traded in a move like that. I would kind of be bummed by it. I'm not gonna lie. I really like Waldrop a lot. Zach, I actually was thinking about that today. Alex Lodis does kind of feel like the most likely of the middle infield options to be traded. He'll Tate, South of Scene, Heel and Tate South of Scene, they're not going anywhere. Unless it's a big trade. But Lodis is kind of like, he kind of feels like a big wild card because the ceiling is there. The ceiling of him being like a 750 OPS guy in the major leagues one day, it's totally there. I told somebody the other day he's got Dansby Swanson written all over him. So do with that what you will, because the glove sticks, and he's not a bad prospect by any means. He's just a guy that everybody knows what he is. He's got some swing and miss problems. Power is there. He had like 4 home runs this week. So I don't know. We'll see that. We'll see who the biggest prospect moves this deadline is. And again, there's also like the weird situation where Alex Anthopoulos just finds his way through the deadline without giving up anybody big. And now if that happens, it's going to make a lot of people unhappy. Giving up Waldrop for Gray after what they gave to get Gray would be the Red Sox. The Red Sox gave up a good pitching prospect. They didn't give up Hurston Waldrop by any means, but off-season trades and deadline trades are very different. Like, especially when it comes to starting pitching. Starting pitching at the deadline is like ungodly expensive. So we're gonna have to navigate that. I did want to touch on the fact that there are 5 Braves that look like they are going to move into the final vote for All-Star. So Ozzie, Drake, Mike, Ronnie, and Olson all look like they're probably going to move into the final. If I had to guess which one of those would actually make it, Drake is definitely going to make it. Drake Baldwin's going to be starting the All-Star game as catcher, which is awesome. Like, that's 3 All-Star catchers for the Braves. since 2022. Yeah. Yeah. 3 all-star catchers since 2022. That's pretty sick. And honestly, Drake easily could have made it last year as well. It's all-star voting purely when does uh no, like the starters are determined via the fan vote. Olsen probably will start the All-Star game because what's going to end up happening is Olsen and Freddie are going to be the top two. Fans from around the league are going to look at it and they're going to go, well, that's ridiculous. Olsen is clearly the better option here. There's just, some ballot stuffing going on for Freddie for whatever reason. Um, so if I had to guess the two guys that will be starting, actually, if I had to guess, there's going to be 3 Braves starting the All-Star game. It's going to be Olsen, Drake, and Michael Harris. Those are the 3 that I believe are going to be starting the All-Star game. I believe that Ozzy might end up being a reserve because I think that he's probably going to get passed over when it comes to the actual final vote. Let's see. I can't remember who the other guy is. Hold on just a second. I'll bring it up. Okay. So Ozzy is in first. Oh, and Bryson Stott is in second. Wow. That's okay. So ugh, Bryson Stott is not all-star worthy. That is crazy. So I think Ozzy's gonna start the all-star game then. Unless Stott gets passed up. Let's see here. Second base. Bryce Terang could sneak his way in this final 3 days. I think that the top 2 is going to be Albies and Bryson Stott. And if that's the case, that means Ozzy's going to Ozzy's going to start the All-Star game. If Ozzy didn't tank in May, would it have helped? I mean, no, not really. I don't think it would have changed much. I mean, he's still got like a 780 OPS, which is pretty good for a second baseman. 12 homers. But I just think it's insanity that so many Phillies are getting voted in to the top 2. Bryson Stott has no business being there. Alec Boehm has no business being there. Kyle Schwarber deserves it. Brandon Marsh. Brandon Marsh has had a good year. I don't think he deserves to be in the top 6 over a guy like James Wood. So you hate Stott as much as I hate Elder. Okay. I hear you, Bo. No, Stott is just not good. I mean, at least Elder was performing well. Like he did have good numbers for a while. Stott is just not good. He's got like a 680 OPS and he's second. Bryce Terang's getting absolutely hosed. But that's okay. We take that. So okay, so I'm gonna change my prediction and I'm gonna say that 4 Braves are starting the All-Star game in Philadelphia, which is just fantastic. Because I think Olsen's gonna beat out Freddie. I think Mike is gonna be one of the top 3 vote getters in the final. Drake is absolutely 100% going to start. And Ozzy's definitely going to beat out Stott if those are the 2 options for the final. Yeah, Brandon Lau or Bryce Terang should absolutely be the starter for second base. I don't know. Braves fans are we're crazy. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I voted for Ozzy. Like, he's been having a good year, so I voted for him. No, Acuna's not going to cost Harris a spot. respectfully, I love Ronnie. I'm not voting for Ronnie, and I'm not going to vote for Ronnie. It's wild that he has over 1,000,000 votes. He's been unhealthy, and quite frankly, when he's in the game, he's not Ronnie. Like, so I don't know. I'm gonna move on a little bit and talk about the starting pitching matchups in San Diego, which are fun because we only know what one of them is, which is tonight. It's Holmes versus King. King has not been the same guy that he was in the past, but we know what he's done to the Braves in the past. And so I wouldn't look for the Braves to score a lot of runs tonight, unfortunately. Now, again, this year they've really handled right-handed pitching pretty well. So we'll see. Um, we know what Grant Holmes is. Yeah, it's still funny. A lot of people have more votes than Juan Soto, which is crazy because you see Mets fans complaining about it, and it's like, dude, like you guys live in the biggest city in the world. There's not enough of you guys to get Juan Soto safely into the All-Star game. I don't care if your city's split. Who do I think Kenley will be back tomorrow? Probably not. They're probably going to slow play that just because it was a forearm thing or an elbow thing. I would say that they're probably going to actually have him do a real rehab. I wouldn't be surprised if his rehab started tomorrow. I completely forgot that Kenley was even an option. Ooh, what do we do there? It's interesting because it's tough. You can't really I guess it's Karinchak gets optioned. That would be yes. Well, the whole country is racist towards Juan Soto, but that's the problem. And apparently, it's because he's Dominican, which is weird because we like all the other Dominican baseball players. So I don't know. I don't know why we're only racist towards one Dominican baseball player and not the rest of them. That's never made sense to me. But yeah, I saw that. I saw that same conversation, and it was fun for a little giggle. So next two nights, Richie and Perez are going. They got TBD listed for the Padres both nights. I know that the Padres have some starting pitching problems. I know that the Padres have some offensive problems. It kind of feels like they got warmed up just in time for us to go into town, though, because Manny Machado has been hitting tanks left and right last week, and that dude always seems to hit one against us. So I would, if you have money to bet, I would definitely bet on Manny Machado hitting a home run against us this weekend or this week. So I think it depends how Richie and Holmes pitch. They suck. Yeah, I think that we are on the verge of. Well, first off, Waldrop is going to come back soon. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if they're going to try to piggyback Waldrop or they're just going to have him like slotted right back into the rotation, send Richie down. But I think that there's a decent possibility. I was just about to say that Lopez, yeah, I think there's a good possibility that Lopez is about to get another shot. Stuff has looked a lot better recently. He went, I think he threw over 60 pitches yesterday in 3 innings. Yeah, I think that's an option. I also think Owen Murphy's an option because he has really performed well at AAA over the last month plus. So I wouldn't rule that out because Alex Anthopoulos early in spring training when they were talking about starting pitching and everything, he mentioned specifically Owen Murphy and said like I wouldn't rule out Owen Murphy making making an appearance for the Braves this year. So So I mean, it's certainly possible. The Braves have some internal depth that they can play with a little bit. It's not kind of the depth that you want, but can it get us to the deadline? I believe so. I also believe that the division is going to be a lot closer by then than it currently is. So, yeah, Elder has no options left. What happens if he struggles again? They could potentially IL him, or they could just keep riding him. I mean, they really, really like Elder. And a lot of it has to do with his durability because, like, sure, even like so Elder can be a guy that's like, things aren't going well, right? And the Braves look at him and they go, okay, he's not been good, but what he is doing is giving us 6-7 innings every time out. So he is doing us a favor. A lot of people would take that in their fifth starter. So I don't know. All right, guys, I don't really have a whole lot more to ramble about right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop off of here. Definitely be back after the Padres series. Kind of switched up my work shift this week, so I'll probably be podcasting earlier in the day and then just trying to release it later. So, all right, go Braves! Let's beat the Padres. You guys have a good night.